She did not expect your silence to last this long because she thought she already knew you. She thought she knew the version of you who would break first, the version of you who would send one more message after saying he was done, the version of you who would check her stories, look for signs, wait for her reply, and pretend he was calm while his whole piece was sitting inside her phone. She thought your love would make you predictable. She thought your pain would make you chase. She thought your heart would eventually drag you back to the same door she kept leaving half open. But this time you did not go back, and that is what changes everything, because when a woman expects you to chase and you stay silent longer than she imagined, she is not just noticing your absence. She is noticing that the old version of you may be gone. The man who used to explain himself, the man who used to over apologize, the man who used to give more when she gave less, the man who used to mistake anxiety for love, the man who used to believe that if he just proved himself one more time, she would finally see his worth. That man is not showing up anymore. And in a few minutes, you are going to understand why long silence only becomes powerful when it comes from real self respect. Not games, not revenge, not trying to make her suffer. Real silence, the kind that says, I am no longer available for the pattern that made me lose myself. Because the truth is, your silence is not meant to destroy her. It is meant to destroy the old version of you that kept chasing. That is the part most men miss. They think silence is a weapon against her, but silence becomes powerful when it becomes a boundary for you. It becomes powerful when you stop using it to get a reaction and start using it to rebuild your own life. It becomes powerful when your phone gets quiet, but your body gets stronger, your mind gets clearer, your routine gets tighter, your standards get sharper, your life begins moving again. That is what she did not expect. She expected you to wait. You started building. She expected you to check. You started healing. She expected you to fold. You started becoming a man you respect. At first, she may not understand it. At first, she may think you are just hurt. She may think you are trying to make a point. She may think you are doing no contact for a few days so she notices. She may think he will text eventually. He always does. And maybe before she had reasons to believe that. Maybe before, when she went cold, you chased. When she ignored, you explained. When she became distant, you became more available. When she pulled away, you started proving. But now the old pattern is broken. That is what creates the pressure inside her mind. Not because you are forcing it, because reality is finally being allowed to work. When you kept chasing, you interrupted reality. You kept giving her access while she gave distance. You kept giving warmth while she gave coldness. You kept making sure she never fully felt your absence because you were always there in some form, a message, a story view, a question through a friend, a sad post, a little signal, a weak excuse to reopen the door. You were gone in words, but still present in energy. And a woman cannot truly feel your absence if your energy is still standing beside her. You cannot be missed if you refuse to become absent. That line matters. You cannot be missed if you keep showing up. You cannot be missed if she knows you are still watching. You cannot be missed if she can pull away and still feel your attention behind her. You cannot be missed if your life is still built around her possible return. So this time, silence had to become real. No checking, no chasing, no explaining, no emotional paragraphs, no late night, I hope you're okay, no asking mutual friends, no posting to be seen, no trying to look happy so she feels jealous, no hidden begging dressed up as self control. Just silence, clean silence, dignified silence, the kind of silence that does not beg to be noticed. That kind of silence feels different because it comes with a different man behind it. A weak man goes silent and waits. A strong man goes silent and rebuilds. A weak man says, how long until she misses me? A strong man says, how long until I stop abandoning myself? A weak man counts days. A strong man counts promises kept. That is where real confidence returns, because confidence is not built by telling yourself you are strong. Confidence is built when you prove you can lead yourself while your emotions are loud, when you miss her and still do not text, when you feel jealous and still do not check, when you want to ask about her and still protect your peace, when you feel lonely at night and still do not send a message from panic. Every time you do that, you rebuild self trust. And self trust is what makes a man solid. A man who trusts himself does not move like a man begging to be chosen. He does not panic because a woman is silent. He does not make one reply the center of his day. He does not let her absence become the boss of his life. He may hurt, but he does not obey the hurt. That is the difference between pain and weakness. Pain is what you feel. Weakness is when pain leads, and you are done letting pain lead. Now, when she realizes your silence has lasted longer than expected, she may begin to question the story she had about you. She may wonder why you have not reached out. She may wonder if you finally moved on. She may wonder if you are stronger than she thought. She may wonder if she took your attention for granted. She may wonder if the door she thought would stay open is finally closed. But do not build your life around what she may wonder. That is another trap. Some men stay silent, but every day they are still mentally asking, is she feeling it yet? Is it hurting her yet? Is she missing me yet? Is she going to come back yet? That is not freedom. That is still being controlled by her inner world. Your mission is not to live inside her mind. Your mission is to return to your own life. Because if your silence depends on her reaction, your silence is still weak. If your discipline exists only to make her regret, your discipline is still attached to her. If your growth only matters if she sees it, your growth is still not yours. Real growth belongs to you. It makes you stronger even if she never notices. It improves your life even if she never comes back. It rebuilds your confidence even if she never admits she was wrong. That is how you know it is real. Now, let us talk about the late night battle because this is where most men lose their silence. It is late. The room is quiet. Your phone is near you. Your mind starts remembering her voice, the old messages, the good moments, the version of her that made you feel chosen. Then it remembers the coldness, the distance, the silence, the way she acted like your presence was not important anymore. And suddenly, your mind starts negotiating. Maybe I should check. Maybe I should send one message. Maybe she is waiting for me. Maybe she thinks I do not care. Maybe if I stay silent too long, she will forget me forever. This is where you must tell yourself the truth. You do not want a message because it is wise. You want a message because you want relief. And relief is not the same as strength. A strong man tells himself the truth before he acts. He does not call checking her profile curiosity. He does not call anxiety communication. He does not call panic love. He does not hide desperation under polite words. He says, I want to do this because I want the pain to stop. Then he chooses discipline. He writes the message in his notes and does not send it. He puts the phone away. He walks. He trains. He prays if faith is part of his life. He sleeps. He lets the urge rise and fall without turning it into another mistake. That is how a man becomes dangerous to his old weakness. Not dangerous to her, dangerous to the weak pattern inside himself. The pattern that used to chase, the pattern that used to beg, the pattern that used to make one woman's silence bigger than his whole future, the pattern that used to trade dignity for temporary contact. That pattern has to die. And every night you do not obey it, you become stronger. Now, what happens in her mind when she expected you to chase and you did not? At first, maybe nothing. That is the part men hate hearing. She may feel relief. She may feel space. She may enjoy the quiet. She may think the pressure is gone. She may believe she made the right decision. Let her. Do not panic because her first reaction is not regret. A lot of men ruin everything right there. They go silent for a little while. Then fear starts talking. They think she does not care. She is moving on. She forgot me. I need to do something. So they break silence from fear, and in one message, they prove the old pattern is still alive. Do not interrupt reality because fear gets loud. If she wanted space, let her feel space. If she wanted distance, let her feel distance. If she wanted life without your presence, step back enough for her to actually experience it. Not as punishment, as truth, because truth teaches what your words could not. When you were chasing, your attention was always available. When you were explaining, your emotions were always available. When you were checking, your energy was always near. But now there is nothing, no pressure, no message, no reassurance, no emotional access, no backup plan, no man waiting outside her silence. And over time, absence can become heavy. She may remember how much you cared. She may remember your consistency. She may remember the way you listened. She may remember that you showed up when things were not easy. She may remember that your love was not always flashy, but it was real. But remember this carefully. Her remembering you does not automatically mean she is ready to respect you. A woman can miss you and still not be mature enough to return correctly. She can feel your absence and still avoid accountability. She can regret losing your attention and still not be ready to rebuild trust. She can come back because she is lonely, not because she has changed. That is why you must not worship her return. If she reaches out, you do not collapse. A small message is not a full return. A hey is not accountability. A miss you is not change behavior. A story view is not love. A late night text is not proof that she is ready. A woman touching the door is not the same as a woman walking through it with clarity. That is where men fail. They stay silent for weeks. They start feeling stronger. Then her name appears on the phone, and the old man wakes up. He replies too fast. He writes too much. He asks if she misses him. He tries to get certainty immediately. He turns one small message into a full emotional negotiation, and she feels it. She feels that he did not truly grow. He was just waiting. Do not be that man. She says, hey, you can say, hey, hope you're doing well. That is enough. Then observe, does she bring clarity? Does she show consistency? Does she take responsibility? Does she respect your pace? Does she communicate with maturity? Or does she only want to see if she still has access to your emotions? A needy man gets drunk on words. A grounded man watches actions. Do not get drunk on words. Words are easy when someone is lonely. Words are easy when guilt appears. Words are easy when nostalgia gets loud. But consistency is harder. Accountability is harder. Respecting your boundaries is harder. That is why you move slowly. If she says, I miss you, you can say, I hear you. What made you reach out? If she says, I've been thinking about us, you can say, I understand. What do you want to do with that? If she says, can we talk? You can say, we can talk, but I am not rushing back into anything. Those are not games. They are calm boundaries. They invite clarity without begging. They show openness without desperation. They protect your peace without attacking her. A real return can handle patience. A fake return usually cannot. If she genuinely wants to reconnect, she will respect your pace. If she only wants emotional access, your boundaries may make her disappear again. Let that happen. You need truth more than temporary comfort because comfort can pull you back into the same cycle. Truth sets you free. Now, here's the part most men do not want to face. Sometimes your long silence does not destroy her. Sometimes it reveals that she was already gone. Sometimes it shows you that the connection was being kept alive mostly by your chasing. Sometimes when you stop reaching, nothing real reaches back. That hurts. But it is still a gift because if something dies the moment you stop chasing, it was not love standing on mutual effort. It was your fear carrying the weight. Do not be afraid of that truth. A man with self respect would rather know the truth than live inside a fantasy that keeps him begging. Fantasy says, maybe she still cares if I keep trying. Truth says, if I have to keep chasing basic effort, I am losing myself. Fantasy says, maybe one more message will fix it. Truth says, one more weak message may reopen the wound. Fantasy says, if she comes back, everything will be okay. Truth says, if I have not changed, the same pattern will repeat. A man must love truth more than comfort. Comfort keeps you attached. Truth makes you stronger. And the truth is, the purpose of silence is not to force her to come back. The purpose of silence is to stop forcing yourself into a place where you are not being valued. That is power. Now, let us talk about rebuilding because silence without rebuilding becomes torture. If you are just sitting there waiting, silence will eat you alive. You will count the days. You will measure every hour. You will imagine what she is doing. You will look for signs. You will make her possible. Return the center of your life. That is not healing. That is emotional waiting. A strong man uses silence as a workshop. He rebuilds his body. He rebuilds his routine. He rebuilds his money. He rebuilds his sleep. He rebuilds his faith. He rebuilds his emotional control. He rebuilds his identity. Because after heartbreak, your identity can get damaged. You start seeing yourself through her behavior. If she ignored you, you feel invisible. If she chose distance, you feel unwanted. If she moved on, you feel replaceable. If she stopped caring, you feel unworthy. But her behavior is not your identity. Her silence is not your value. Her distance is not your definition. You must rebuild the part of you that forgot that. For the next 7 days, do not message her first from panic. Do not check her stories. Do not ask mutual friends about her. Do not post to get her attention. Do not make emotional decisions at night. Do not reread old messages until your chest hurts. Do not send a soft message when what you really want is reassurance. Put that energy into training, work, money, sleep, discipline, faith, emotional control, and rebuilding your identity. Train your body even when your mind is heavy. Clean your space even when your emotions feel messy. Fix your sleep because tired men make weak decisions. Eat properly because heartbreak drains your focus. Walk when anxiety hits. Brought what you want to say, but do not send it from panic. Put your phone away before midnight. Build your day before your emotions build it for you. This is not about pretending you do not care. It is about proving that her silence does not own you. Every time you do not chase, you rebuild self trust. Every time you do not check, you rebuild control. Every time you do not post for her reaction, you rebuild dignity. Every time you keep your routine while hurting, you become stronger. That is how a man becomes solid. And a solid man is difficult to pull back into chaos. He does not fold because someone gives him a little attention. He does not collapse because someone goes quiet. He does not forget the lesson because someone sends a soft message. He does not become bitter, but he also does not become easy. He watches. He listens. He moves slowly. He lets actions prove what words claim. Now, understand why long silence can feel so powerful. It removes the old emotional supply. If she used to get your attention whenever she wanted, now she does not. If she used to know you were waiting, now she does not. If she used to feel that she could go cold and still receive warmth, now she cannot. If she used to believe your loyalty had no boundary, now she has to question that. That does not mean she is evil. It means she is human. People often notice value more clearly when access changes, but again, do not use this truth to become manipulative. Do not sit there thinking, good, now she is suffering. That is not masculine strength. That is wounded ego. A strong man does not need her to suffer to feel powerful. He does not need to destroy her peace to rebuild his own. He does not need revenge to validate his pain. A strong man says, I hope she grows, but I am no longer sacrificing myself for confusion. That is maturity, because bitterness still keeps you attached. Revenge still keeps you attached. Living for her regret still keeps you attached. Freedom is different. Freedom says, I do not need to hurt you. I just refuse to abandon myself again. That is the energy you want. Now, what if she tries to pull you back with guilt? She may say, so you just stopped caring? She may say, you changed. She may say, I thought you loved me. She may say, you are acting cold. Do not let guilt drag you back into a place your self respect already left. You can care and still step back. You can love and still have boundaries. You can miss her and still refuse to chase. You can forgive and still move slowly. That is maturity. If she says you stopped caring, you can say, I did not stop caring. I stopped chasing a dynamic that was hurting me. If she says you changed, you can say, I had to. The old version of me kept losing himself. If she says, I thought you loved me, you can say, love does not mean abandoning my peace. Those lines are not for winning an argument. They are for keeping your center. A man with a center does not need to fight every accusation. He speaks clearly, then watches behavior. Because behavior tells the truth. If she respects your boundary, that is information. If she mocks it, that is information. If she takes accountability, that is information. If she only wants access without responsibility, that is information. Do not fear information. Fear staying blind because hope feels better. Hope without standards can ruin a man. It makes him wait too long. Forgive too quickly. Ignore too much. Chase too hard. Accept too little. You need hope, yes. But hope must be led by truth. Truth says I can care about her and still protect myself. Truth says I can miss her and still not chase. Truth says I can forgive and still move slowly. Truth says I can love deeply and still walk away from repeated confusion. That is the truth a man needs. Now, let us be honest about the title. She did not expect you to stay silent this long, and it may be destroying the old certainty she had about you. It may be destroying the assumption that you would always chase. It may be destroying the comfort of knowing your attention was automatic. It may be destroying the version of her story where you were always waiting. But the real destruction is inside you. The weak pattern is being destroyed. The begging is being destroyed. The chasing is being destroyed. The checking is being destroyed. The need to prove your worth is being destroyed. The habit of making one woman's behavior the center of your identity is being destroyed. And that is good because not every part of you deserves to survive heartbreak. Some parts need to end. The part that accepted crumbs. The part that confused anxiety with love. The part that over explained to people who already knew. The part that made her silence louder than your purpose. The part that forgot you had a life before her. Let that part die. And let a stronger man stand up. A man with discipline, a man with standards, a man with emotional control, a man who can love deeply but not desperately, a man who can miss someone without making them his master. That is the man you are becoming. Now, if she never comes back, you still win if you become that man. This is the part many men avoid because they want the story to end with her regret. They want the message, they want the apology, they want proof that silence worked. But the highest proof is not her return. The highest proof is your peace. Can you sleep without her reply? Can you train without needing her to notice? Can you work without checking your phone every 10 minutes? Can you stop asking about her? Can you feel sadness without turning it into begging? Can you remember her without reopening the wound? Can you love deeply without losing your frame? That is success because a man who can do that is no longer easy to break. He is harder to manipulate, harder to pull into chaos, harder to make insecure, harder to turn into an option. That man is attractive because he is not desperate for attraction. He has direction, and direction is one of the most powerful things a man can have. A man with direction does not orbit around a woman's uncertainty. He has things to build, he has a body to strengthen, he has money to earn, he has skills to sharpen, he has faith to deepen, he has standards to protect. He has a future that does not pause just because one person became unsure. That is real masculine power, not forcing her to miss you, not making her regret, not playing games, becoming the man who no longer has to beg anyone to see his value. So tonight, when your mind tells you to check if she feels it yet, do not check. When your ego wants proof that she misses you, do not search for proof. When your heart wants to send one small message, do not send from panic. When loneliness tells you to reopen a door that hurt you, breathe, put the phone down, stand up, drink water, walk, train, pray, work, dot, lead, build. Do one thing that makes tomorrow better. Because discipline is how a man tells heartbreak, you can hurt me, but you cannot lead me. That is the man she did not expect. Not the man who begged, not the man who folded, not the man who kept checking after every moment of distance. The man who hurt but stayed composed. The man who cared but did not abandon himself. The man who wanted her but did not make her return the measure of his worth. The man who turned silence into strength, pain into standards, and loss into direction. That man is hard to forget. That man is hard to replace. That man is free. So remember this: long silence is not powerful because it destroys her, it is powerful because it rebuilds you. It shows her that access to you is not automatic. It shows you that your emotions can be felt without being obeyed. It shows the old pattern that it no longer controls your life. And if she comes back, you do not rush, you do not punish, you do not collapse, you listen, you observe, you let actions prove what words cannot. If she never comes back, you keep walking. Because the deepest truth is this: the goal is not to make her suffer from your silence. The goal is to become so grounded that her silence can no longer make you suffer the same way. And in the next video, you will learn the quiet signs she regrets pulling away and how to handle her return without giving away the power you worked so hard to build.